James Harden in Houston did not look like the James Harden we're seeing now.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit because I think that, fuck it, let's talk about it now, man. A lot of people didn't think that this experiment in Brooklyn was going to work. I didn't at the beginning, but then after I thought about it, I was like, hold on. James plays point guard. Kyrie plays off the ball. And KD does whatever the hell that KD wants to do because he's KD. And I don't know if you remember the old Kobe quote before he passed away, RIP to the Mamba. He talked about James can't win a championship if he keeps playing the way that he's playing in Houston. And I think James finally got to that breaking point where he understood that this is not winning basketball. We've not had a championship team win like this ever in our history. And I'm going to go play with my boys, and I'm going to be able to drive, dish, shoot, just play ball. And it's working. And I call myself crazy for thinking that it wouldn't work because I remember saying, well, maybe I don't even remember. Once I came on here and talked about it, I'm like, when you play with your friends, it's easier to do things that you wouldn't want to do with people that you don't like or you don't rock with. And now look at them. They came on the West Coast. They beat everybody's ass with no KD. KD's out indefinitely, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think with James Harden came into Houston and just looked bad. Like he looked overweight. He was putting up his typical numbers, but it wasn't really leading to anything. His efficiency was down. And now he's in Brooklyn. What are his numbers? I wrote it down. He's 25, 7, and then he's averaging almost 11 assists, but his field goal percentage is up 4%. So he was 44 in Houston. He's 48 now. His 3-point percentage is up 7% from 34 to 41. So like he's playing a lot better, which we didn't know was just going to happen that fast. Kyrie was on his hiatuses, and like that's not even to make fun of him. I know he was dealing with some things we've been told. The lack of communication didn't sound good, and that just sort of like fueled the fire to Kyrie's a wild card and is going to do whatever he wants. KD was KD. He's still coming off the Achilles injury, but like we didn't know fully if he was going to be back to top 3 player in the league, KD, which he has been. And then they just figured it, like the talent just figured it out way quicker than we all thought. Because if this had crashed and burned, if they hadn't been playing as well, I think no one would have been equally surprised because of the reasons I just named. Well, Kyrie's doing Kyrie things. James Harden looked bad in Houston. They turned it around, and the reasons we thought they wouldn't were the reasons I just named. So, like, the talent figured it out a lot better than we thought they would, and there is some like, oh, I'm playing with my boy. There's a lot more cohesion. But if this hadn't worked, I don't think we would have looked crazy.
You're right, but I tell you what I find really interesting is how much people were rooting for it not to work, and how I've heard people talk about, yeah, I hate watch Brooklyn. I just watch them because it's really good fucking basketball, good offensive basketball to watch. Like
they're fun to watch.
Like watching James Harden really run the point and being able to kick it to Kyrie. Do you know how beautiful that is? Like we forgot what off-ball Kyrie was. The when he was playing with LeBron and didn't have to be the quote-unquote point. That was beautiful basketball.
That's what he is. He's a modern Gilbert Arenas. Like he is best off ball. And granted, Gilbert had to have the ball in his hands. Kyrie is better when you put the ball in his hands and he doesn't have to like create for other people. You get him the ball on the wing. He's coming downhill now and can create. But Kyrie, top of the paint, pick and roll, like that's not Kyrie at his best.
Nah, bro. Put him on the wing and let him just start dribbling.
So now they're just maximizing everybody. You got KD, who's still a top 5 player in the league. James Harden, who was fantastic. And then Kyrie, who is probably the best third option ever, along with James Worthy.
I thought KD's the best third option ever, but
We're not doing that again.